everybody, and welcome to Wednesday show. I gotta say, we don't always get everything working perfectly, but we have we're pretty dead on when it comes to starting the time. We hit 9 o'clock more regularly than we don't. Well, because the three of us are all watching the clock to make sure we do. So if I miss it, you guys can. But another nail, directly at 9 o'clock. So don't anybody complain about the show being late.
Nope. If it's late, you can blame it entirely on YouTube and lag.
Of course. Sure. Everybody can. Say hello to chat. Costin and I saw Fever Dan was out there. Hello. Of course, everyone else will roll in as we go. I, of course, am your host tonight. The one-time-hammer with me, my two favorite co-hosts on the planet. Genty Maxie.
Hello.
And Terry Dedmocrat.
I'm sharing the stream. I'm like, oh yes, I will brave Twitter. I'm not even opposed to going on to Twitter. I get that it's kind of like a fun scape for many on our side, and I'm not actually into drama, believe it or not.
Drama?
What? Yeah, like I get laughing.
I like that pronunciation. I like drama over drama. It's drama.
It is drama because it's not that I don't appreciate that people are getting a little bit of a one-up on what was a lot of leftist bullying, but I'm just not into the drama. Like I go on sometimes and I see that like my country is a shithole, and preemptively before he even handed over the papers, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get all my emotions out now, and I did, and I got in trouble for it. So I go on now and I'm like, I appreciate the drama, but
Cam wants to join us in chat. Hey Camel, and our Thursday night host Johnny Hellcat has joined us as well. Welcome, gentlemen. We have a couple of topics tonight. Nothing too dramatic or things that we have to really discuss any length, but I did find one of them particularly funny, and it's the one that Terry pointed out to me. Tony DeLuca is a Democrat, and he won his election exactly 1 month, 1 day after he died.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? He had very strong talking points, and I thought what he was going to do in the future was really impressive.
So he went from a Democrat candidate to a Democrat voter?
He was a House of Representatives Democrat running for re-election.
Right.
And he won while dead. And that's your typical Democratic voter. They just walk in, press the button that says D, and they walk out.
Yeah.
So you are now you guys, the Americans, are the crypt keepers.
Yeah.
You're run by
This doesn't surprise me at all. I can't imagine this ever happening on the Republican side, but it does not surprise me at all that this happens on the Democrat side. Also, the other topics to cover them really quickly before we get into too much of a discussion. Sexiest Man Alive has been picked by People Magazine, like they do every year. You'll be surprised to see who it is. I was surprised. Were you surprised? I was surprised. And then finally, our girl Brittany, was she 6'3", 6 foot? Well, how tall is she? 6'5"? Arrested in a Russian jail, has been moved to prison to begin her 9-year stretch as a hardened criminal. So
what happened to the nice person?
You know what? By the time she comes back, she'll be fluent in Russian.
It's actually a language program. So yeah, to get back to Tony DeLuca and his amazing win and his all the physical hardships that he'll have to face for the next 4 years. I have no idea what's going to happen to that position because obviously he can't fill it. Because
they're going to hold another election, I think. There's a special election.
I hope so. But is it going to include other Democrats to go against the Republican, or is it going to be Republican? I mean, how do they pick who's going to run again? Because obviously he's not going to run again. So they're going to have to pick another Democrat and run him against the Republican again.
I don't know the details, but in the article I read, they said that there's going to be a special election. So I would assume that the Democrats will just pick another candidate to run against the Republican.
How would this be handled in your countries? How would you do something? I mean, first of all, it is unlikely that your countries are going to be as stupid as the Democrats in this situation. But if in
It
some
can't
way it happened,
it can't happen down here because we vote for the party, not the person. So we would vote for the Labour Party, not for Anthony Albanese. So we would vote for the Labour Party, and then they would pick whoever they wanted to be the Prime Minister if they won. So yeah,
so they would pick after you pick the party.
No. They tell you who they're picking for the Prime Minister, so you know who it's going to be.
Okay.
But you vote for the party, and then they can change the Prime Minister if they want. Like there's a process. They can just say,
wow.
"No, we want a different person." Because there was a time we went through like 5 prime ministers in like 2 years because there was that much conflict within the party.
Wow, that's crazy that you pick the party and they can change who represents that party as they go. That's crazy.
Yeah, there was a running joke that you could use the current prime minister to tell the time. Like that's how frequently it was changing.
How would that work in Canada?
What do you mean?
If you voted for someone dead.
Hey, Spud.
I don't really know because we used to have a system where we could just kind of look at Great Britain and be like, so what do we do? But nowadays we don't really do that. I mean, I'd still do that because I'd prefer to be honest, I would prefer to look at Charles and be like, could you be useful for something? But I don't think he is. Not for us anyway. In terms of us electing a dead person, well, I think that well, I think for one thing they'd be fired right away because we seem to have the type of people up here who like to spend our money. So starting another election for no damn reason, just so that you could elect a living person, would be something they would do. But also, I've looked into the kind of people who run our capital city, like Ottawa, and a lot of them might as well be running dead people because they're brain dead. So maybe it's not impossible.
I mean, if you say you elected Pierre and he takes over from Trudeau and wins, and a day later he kills for some reason, they poison him or whatever they're going to do to him. Does it?
Sorry,
does
I'm
it
not meaning to laugh. It's just.
Is there a second in charge, or how does that happen?
Yeah, we do. So technically speaking, if Trudeau were to step down right now, his finance minister Freeland would step in.
Finance minister.
Yes, she's the next in charge as far as the Liberal Party is concerned.
So I take it the finance guy is like our vice president, second in charge. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. Because you got to understand that technically speaking, Trudeau is the second in charge. We don't really have a king. We don't really have a queen. We are our own country, but technically speaking, by his name, he's second in charge. He's supposed to be the keeper of the country for the queen, or well, now king. Because we're supposed to be. Yeah, it's weird. It is
weird. It is weird. He's the second in charge to a king that you don't have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's understandable.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. We don't really like.
I have absolutely no room to laugh here.
Like in our system, like how it works is we elect our conservatives, and then our conservatives elect their leader, and that leader is who ends up being the prime minister if they get elected in. So if they get enough, vote seats in parliament, that's who ends up being the prime minister. But we don't directly just vote them in. It's not too different from how you guys go. The amount of states that have enough votes that'll get the person who's going to be the president in.
Mm-hmm.
it is a little bit like that, but not enough like that to really consider it like that.
We do have like a backup kind of system. I mean, built
Mhm.
right in from the
Mhm.
get-go. It's not something that was like, well, what do we do now? The government, when established, they president, man in charge, no
Yeah.
one above him. Vice
Yeah.
president, in case the president dies. And then Speaker of the Majority House, in case the president dies. That would be Pelosi. And so that's how we definitely have that point. This, and this,
Mhm.
that's set no matter what. And the great thing about this is Pelosi has said that if she doesn't win the House this year, which she didn't, or at least it's pretty obvious that she's not going to, that if she doesn't keep the House, she's going to retire. Have you heard that?
Good. Good. She's at the age too.
She never
She
got her
might as
hands on.
well.
Yeah.
She's
was like
got
98.
with as much money as she's taken, I would run too, lady.
How
Do it
terrible does that have to be, knowing you're 3 from the top and you're never going to get it? You're never going to be president. You're never going to be in control.
Yeah, how old is Pelosi? Like 99,
Something
98?
like that. I don't know. She's zombie chick. She's really old.
I mean, I don't think she can keep up with anything either. Like outside of the grift that she's still trying to pull, like with what's coming up, I think she knows what monster she's made, and she's like, have fun with that.
She's made her money. She's old. She doesn't need us anymore.
Mhm.
You know, time to get out. And we're happy to see her go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I have no qualms with that. If that's what the way she's going to say it, oh well, you know, if I lose control, I'm just going to leave. If you want to use that as your reason, fine. But
So I was joking, but I wasn't that far off. She's 82 years old.
yeah. So if I didn't say hello, hey Cynic, who has joined us in chat. Yeah, I that's another problem that we're having, that you guys don't seem to be having this problem. I mean, nobody else seems to be having this problem. Is everybody we have running the country is old.
No,
Yes.
we don't underestimate, like just because Trudeau isn't a senior citizen doesn't mean he's a young man. I think I'm gonna double check that one because I keep getting that wrong, but I think he is in his mid-50s.
Yeah, Trump is banging on 80 pretty soon too now, isn't he? Isn't he like 78 or something like that?
He's old.
And Biden's around.
Yeah, he's 50 years old. But that guy is so fucked up from other shit. Like, mentally speaking, I think he's gonna end up like his mom. And this is stuff that you both wouldn't know. Like, and I haven't read their biographies. I really should have, but I'm not the nosy person who wants to look into other people. But my understanding on her is she's always had dementia, or a form of dementia. She's always had schizophrenia. I think he's going to end up with all the brain shit that you get when you get old. And I'm saying that he could end up early because he's always gone. And I stand by my opinion that the fact is, I think he takes stuff for migraines. Blind Girl pointed it out to me because I pointed this out to her, that like he's gone specifically every 3 to 4 months is when you see him gone for those holiday trips of his.
Mhm.
And I think he goes for Botox. I think he gets injections for migraines. And it obviously does stuff to your face, like it makes you look younger because he comes back all perky and high and shit. And when you look into the records of the money that he's spending, he's still a party boy. He's still partying like he's in college. Only he brings all his liberal buddies with him when they go. He's a hard drug guy. Those type of people, rock stars, lose their brains earlier. So I can't see them holding on to him for as long as they would a Biden. For one thing, we can't because we're collapsing under him.
Yeah.
But in terms of elderly, he might as well be. As far as I'm concerned, mentally speaking, with the shit he's done to his own brain, yeah, I don't think he knows where he is half the time either because he's high.
I don't have a problem too much with people being old and being in service. That's fine as long as they're still competent.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so even though, like, Biden, no. Trump, yeah. It was the last time you saw Biden, He was making jokes on stage, having a good time. He looked perfectly normal. So even though he's of that same age as Biden, I don't have the same issue. You know, you can be 78 or 80 or something like that and
Mhm.
still run the country. It's not like you don't have a lot of wisdom. It's not like you don't have a lot of experience. These are all things you
Like,
can still draw on, but you got to be able to add numbers. You got to be able to complete a sentence, you know?
like I suspect, and let's pick on an old person, Queen Elizabeth. She was 96.
There you go.
Was, you know, and I think she was still with her wits. Like, I think she was well aware of the fact that the last year of her life she was going downhill. You know, without Philip, a lot of old people are like that. They're like, "Fuck it, I don't want to be here anymore."
Yeah, no, that's true.
That
You
is
know,
absolutely true. My mom said it verbatim. She said exactly those words, and she was dead in 2 weeks.
you know, and that's just how it is. When the person that you were with for that long, and she was with him for since she was in her 20s, you know, that is so many years where, yeah, the last year I would have been like, you know what, I'll spend as much time as I can saying goodbye to the people that matter the most, which she did. Her grandkids, she, you know, and that's why, even though it's never going to be my position to have an opinion on it, but yeah, I'm sorry, Harry, but you fucked up. And I ain't calling you Prince because you said you didn't want to be one, but you
Yeah,
fucked
that's
up.
true.
I think you did, because the one thing that you don't do to your grandparents or your great grandparents, you never withhold their grandkids from them. And I
That is
think they
cool.
did. I know they said they showed pictures, but like, shit, that stuff was weird. But that's
Do you think
just
it
not
was him
something
that was doing that, or you think it was her? Because
It was
he
not
said
to
yes.
insult all women, because you know that's my thing, just to insult all women. But whenever it comes
Regardless,
down to someone
Mhm.
someone withholding children, it's not usually the guy that does that.
It
I
might have
can
been
almost
because of her.
guarantee it was Meghan Markle.
It might have been because of her, but at the end of the day, he still said yes to it.
Well,
Yeah,
of
he's a
course he
spineless
did.
pussy who agreed, but
Yeah,
I do think
you
the
can't
idea came from Meghan.
yeah, you can't call him the bad guy because he's a spineless moron. That's not being bad. That's just being dumb. She, on the other hand,
It is though. It is though, because at the end of the day, you can sit there and be like, yeah, it was spineless, but he was spineless.
yeah, but that's not an
He
intent
didn't.
of evil. Where taking
No,
someone's kid, that's an intent for evil there.
but
I think,
he's still going to be the one who regrets it. And I
Probably
think
will.
oh, absolutely.
I
But
think
I think,
if she ever gives him an ounce of out, because he can't right now. I don't think he can. I think he's tied down to her as much as she could tie him down. So until she lets him go, he's stuck.
yeah, I think Meghan is malicious, and I think Harry is just useless.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
I
pretty
mean,
clear.
I could be sympathetic with him for being a coward, but at the end of the day, coward or no coward, you're still the guy who's going to live the rest of your life knowing that.
Oh, absolutely. No one thinks cowardice is a positive trait.
But out of all of them, I do feel the bad. I still feel the worst for Charlotte, because the British media, when they decide to pick sides, they don't give a shit about the age of the person that they're attacking. And I'm like, the entire time she's going through that funeral, and you know, she's probably having little mental breakdowns while she's trying to be the perfect little princess for the crowd.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years old, and you're in probably your most favorite person in the world outside of your mom and your dad is gone. Fuck off. Yeah, that's my end of that. Yeah, see, Spud Gun agrees with me. But he's a military guy too, so I mean, I learned a lot about you guys because I was watching a lot of videos of people going through abandoned homes, and your farmhouses are scary as shit. I'm gonna go to England someday. I don't know about Australia. I'm not saying you guys don't have abandoned buildings, but your abandoned buildings have spiders that can kill you.
Yeah, most of the farms up around here, even the ones that are somewhat abandoned, they're not spooky because they're not that big. The actual barn isn't
Mhm.
that big of a place. It's just mildly bigger than the house, and it has almost nothing inside. It's just a shell, more or less. The only thing you have to be worried about is farm tools, because there's all kinds of stuff hanging from the rafters. You know, chains and stuff. It looks like a BDSM dungeon or something like that. But they're not spooky. You open the front doors and the entire place is lit up because it's just a box. So it's a little bit different here. Like the only thing that's ever been scary at my place is the silo. It just I don't know why. It just has spooked me ever since I bought the place. Just having that one big silo back. It's back behind the barn, so it's not like I'm have to deal with it ever. Really, it's just another shell, an aluminum shell. But yeah, you walk in there and look up and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I don't like being here, and you walk back out again. So I actually considered knocking it down, but from the outside, people driving by like, oh, look at the pretty farm. I think I knocked that down. People would think, oh, look at the house. It wouldn't just be a pretty farm anymore. So I left it up. It's fine. It's built really well. It's going to last. It's going to be here long after me. But yeah, I closed down the farm. I'm living at my mom's house now. So I kind of like it better.
Sorry, Spudgun. I know, my list of people that I'm meeting from England just increases like on a weekly basis, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I do get people confused. So I've got like maybe 3 people that I think I know that are military from the UK.
Alex, isn't Alex ex-military from the UK?
Well, he was in the Navy, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know of anybody else. Like the only few people I know of from that area would be Mathilde, of course, and Samuel. I don't really know anybody else in that part of the world. So I don't really know many military. For as close as I actually went to being in the military, I really don't know very many military people at all.
For me, it started with the US. Like the minute I started Discord and the minute I started doing YouTube, it's just probably because there's so many more people in the US to Canada in the first place. Yeah, I just found myself meeting more and more military people. Technically, Sam Al is military as well, but he's French.
Sorry, that kind of struck me as funny. But yeah, we just discount him because we all discount the French. Who cares about them, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
Skep Tock is military too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to mention around him because he'll tell you everything there is to know about the military. But yeah, he was in the military for a while. He wasn't just a couple of years. He was in it for a stretch. He has a lot of military experience. If you get on the topic of the military, man, he knows so much military stuff.
Well, I always find it interesting when different military people talk to each other, just because their experiences are so similar and different at the same time. Just because different militaries, they have their standards and their things that they're expected to do, and they always find the conversation the most interesting, just because they have so many similar situations.
Yeah, I was just watching a video almost exactly what you're talking about. There was 2 guys reviewing the Maverick movie. One was from the Air Force, and the other guy was Navy Air Force.
Yeah.
And they were going they'd go through a portion and they would listen to the audio and they turn each other and say, we would say that. And the other guy said, no, we wouldn't. We would say this, not that. And he says, and he's like, there was a part in there where 2 bad fighters came up underneath him near the end of the movie. And Rooster's in the back seat and he says, tally 2. And you could see one guy smile and the other guy look at him like, what the hell? Because he would call them bogeys, not tallies. Same idea, same process. They would still, note them and they both look. Everything still happened, but the verbiage was different. So yeah, I can imagine that's a common thing between different branches, is that one branch would say this, one branch would say this, and maybe even what they did would be different.
Even different era. Like one of the videos that I watched, they'd found an old bunker from World War II in Liverpool. And I don't think the guy who was walking through it initially realized what it was, because he knew the age, but if for some reason I think he's a little bit slow on connecting the dots, and they were like, these people were squatting down here. Why were so many people? And I'm like, well, they were huddling the town was huddling underneath this. It was a completely underground cement bunker, and they've built a park over it. But you could tell that that probably used to be a street where shit happened in England. I'm just saying. I was talking to Terry about that before we started the stream too. It's just one of those things where, yeah, I haven't hit the wall because I physically don't feel old. But hitting my 40s and then watching people walk through houses and claim things from the 80s and the 90s as being old. And then this guy is finding an underground military bunker from like the 1940s. And like there was an artist that had been down there who'd been drawing the people huddling down there, like, and it was just such a historical place, in all honesty. Like they're not going to be able to clean it out. Like it's something that looks like it's been there for so long, but kids go under there. Like they found a cat that got lost many years ago. But it's just still like, you could see the places where they were going to the bathroom. You could see how they were getting water down to the people. You could see where people, were trying to keep themselves entertained while they were terrified of the bombs. And yeah, it's just.
Was Monkey a military? Is he in the military?
No, I don't think he was military. I think he just talks to a lot of people.
I have two chats up on my screen. I have my chat from my account, but also from running the show, there's a chat for Minions of the Zoo. That's why I can reply to things by either person. And the one for Minions of the Zoo's got a lot more screen space. And I noticed that a while ago, Keyword M asked if Monkey was a military brat.
I don't think Monkey was. I think he moved around a lot as a kid because his family was, or something like that. Because I think he's referred to himself as a Navy brat, I think.
Yeah, I think his dad.
Right.
Yeah, well, my dad was Army.
Okay, Hate says Monkey was a Navy brat. That makes okay.
Yeah, my parents got married, and my dad went in the Army pretty quick, and they had my brother before he left. But she had a big support system behind her. She was fine, and he fought in the wars, and then 5 years later came home, and then a couple years later it was me. My brother and I are 7 years apart. But yeah, he was Army rifleman in World War II, and he was a tank battalion commander in Korea. That was his. So both in the Army. So I've never known anybody really. Or I've never met anybody Navy or Air Force.
I feel so unintentionally smooth, Hammer, because it's 2 days away from our the day that our memorial for World War I and World War II. Yeah, because we do that on the 11th. So I have to remember to get a poppy. I haven't left my house in like 10 days. So
well, we've got a puppy living in Texas, I believe. So just go borrow her.
Yeah, no, I don't think she'd appreciate being pinned to my coat. And those pins are deadly. So I always end up taping it to my coat. So A, I don't lose it, and B, I don't end up stabbing myself. But yeah, I got to remember to do that because I always donate to those and then pray that nobody steals the box.
I'm aware that Canada was pretty heavily involved in World War II, but what was Australia as far as World War II? Were you guys as heavy into it as we were?
I think so, because my grandfather was like a soldier in World War II and he got shot by the Japanese. So, I mean, we had a military presence. I don't know how big it was, but I mean, I assume we were involved.
Where did
you guys were right there with us too. I mean, you weren't in all the spots that we were, but there's records of us fighting with you, because there are times where in our military history, Canada, Australians, and quite often the Americans would talk, because the British are really smart, but they do stuff, and we had to converse with each other to make sure we all didn't die.
I mean, it does make sense that the Australian soldiers would be in the Asian conflicts primarily because it's closer to where Australia is.
Right. Well, my dad's involvement was D-Day on the beach, boots in the ground, and he made his way through our dens, ended up in Buchenwald. So he got the real experience. The real thing happened to him.
People in chat are more informed than I am, and Cynic says we were nearly invaded by Japan and we were bombed. So there you go. And I know that my grandfather absolutely despised the Japanese, and like with good reason. And that makes it even clearer as to why.
You know, to be honest, I would imagine you guys have a really strong relationship with the Philippines for that reason too. Like, you know, because they had the same problem. Like, I could see you guys banding up with the Americans in the Philippines a lot because the Philippines had problems with them too.
Yeah, like I'm not a history person. I didn't really look into this stuff, but it looks like people in chat are saying that yes, Australia was pretty heavily involved, and the Japanese did horrible things to us.
Yeah, they did. They did bad things. Yeah, they did. Yeah, lots of people did. You can't hold a grudge now, but lots of people did.
No, I think they did some unspeakable things like create anime, but they also they also gave us Nintendo, so I think that balances out.
Yeah, they make our iPhones, so I got to give them some leeway.
Yeah.
What else can we chat about? Terry being nominated as Sexiest Man Alive. Personally, I thought I was going to be the leader, but it wasn't. In truth, it turns out to be. Do either of you have a guess? You didn't look it up, did you? You didn't Google it?
No.
Don't look at chat because they're going to lie. Neither one of you know?
Yeah.
Nope.
I don't know, but I mean, given that he's all over the place at the moment, Elon Musk.
Let's see if chat comes up with it. Chat's going to just go out and Google it and tell me because nobody knows. It is Chris Evans.
Oh, okay.
Captain America himself.
Ah, okay.
He's not though.
No.
Sorry.
The people have spoken.
Sure, but the people are stupid. Look.
You cannot tell me as a woman that Chris Evans is not a handsome man.
He's okay.
Oh, come on. You can't tell me Chris Evans is okay. Like, put him up against Elon Musk. Elon Musk is okay, regardless of his money. Chris Evans is a good-looking guy.
Don't underestimate somebody's personality versus their looks. But even still, I wouldn't go with Chris Evans. Maybe it's just I'm a different Marvel girl, but I was more of a fan of Thor.
Chris Hemsworth.
I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference between all the Chris's. So
we'll refer to them as their Marvel characters. We're talking Captain America and Thor. Okay.
But I mean, I know that someone named Chris who was in a Marvel movie won, and that's the extent of it.
I mean, and then there's Chris Pratt. I mean, I like Chris Pratt better than I like Chris Evans. I'm just saying
I don't know who that is either.
Sometimes
Chris Pratt is Quill.
Yeah.
From Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy who runs the ship.
Okay.
In Jurassic Park 2. Yeah. Well, not 2, but like.
There you go.
Jurassic World.
I was trying to stay on the Marvel track to keep Terry.
But it's just sometimes, like I said, sometimes attitude and personality does more for a person's expressions than you would think. And I don't know. Chris Evans seems like the kind of guy who thinks his own farts smell good.
Really?
And I just I don't know.
I don't get that at all. I saw him on, what was it? Jimmy Kimmel, I think it was, and he was just a regular, everyday, laughable, good-hearted guy.
Maybe it's just
he was just, hey, how's everybody doing? Yeah, hey. He was just very. It didn't seem like he was a dick at all to me.
I got to be honest. I can't tell attractiveness in men. Like, people say that Brad Pitt is like this gorgeous man. It's like, okay, I mean, I'll take your word for it. I'm not saying he's ugly. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
nothing about him speaks handsome to me.
Mhm.
He looks like a guy.
I don't think I could say this guy is prettier than that guy. You know, if they're roughly the same, I couldn't really pick one over the other. I just don't have. I'm not gay, so I wouldn't know
No.
which man is more preferable than another man. Personally, I could do that with a woman easily. Can't do it with a
Of
guy,
course.
but I can tell that some guys are gifted. I mean, regardless
Yeah.
of their acting talent or their pretty or their money. I mean, there's plenty of categories. But just going by Hollywood actors only, yeah, Brad Pitt's up there, of course. Chris Hemsworth. I
Like,
mean, there's a lot of people up there.
I could tell you, for instance, that Danny DeVito is not, but that's
Poor
because he's
Danny.
got clear signifiers that everyone finds
Danny.
unattractive. But if you take an average-looking man and a good-looking man, I won't really be able to tell which one you think is the good-looking and which one is the average.
Yeah. Brad Pitt, good looking. Mark Ruffalo, nah, not
I
really.
mean, like, people tell me that Rowan Atkinson is quite unattractive, and I
Yeah.
think he looks fine.
Really?
I think he looks fine. Like, if you watch the second season of Blackadder, I don't think he looks unattractive at all. Maybe he just needs to always have a beard. I don't know. He just looks like a. I mean, he doesn't look handsome, but he doesn't look ugly. He
Rowan,
just looks like
I'm trying
a dude.
to get the face. Rowan Atkinson, is he the guy who plays Mr. Bean?
Yeah, but Mr. Bean, they play up the goofy look to sell the
that's
character.
the only picture I have in my mind is the guy from Mr. Bean. I'm thinking this guy looks like, you know, from the rat from Ice Age.
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
horrible.
In Mr. Bean, they deliberately make him look goofy for the joke of the character. But
Yeah.
when he's not playing that character, he just looks fine. He just looks like
Okay.
a normal person to me.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm never going to watch the new Interview with the Vampire, but based off of the clips that I can see, whoever rewrote it was really going with a gay fan fiction that was based off of it. And I can tell you that Tom Cruise as the vampire Lestat was still more gay because he's capable of understanding androgyny. He understands how to be flamboyant and sexual. That's why a lot of people think he's just gay. But I don't think he's actually gay. I actually think he's quite happy to do it with a chick. He's just capable as an actor of understanding what it means to be androgynous. But whoever's playing this new Lestat, who they've created as a character who's way more homoerotic than the actual story, like Lestat is very French. So I'm not saying he wouldn't bone a dude. He probably would. But he's still straight. Like, it's one of those weird things where somebody could be bisexual, but they're probably more straight than anything else.
Yeah.
But
No one's
they're,
bisexual. That's a myth.
you know, but he's happy to do it with a dude who's good looking. He's a weird vampire. But this new guy who's trying to be gay, and I bet you they probably hired him because he was gay, is less gay than Tom Cruise, who, as far as I'm aware, Tom Cruise himself is straight.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that you're a woman on our panel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the top 10, according to Google, sexiest men. Who do you think? Tell me, guess as many as you want, and I'll see if you can guess anyone that's on this top 10 list.
And just to be clear, Hammer and I are obviously 1 and 2, so you only have to guess the other 8.
All right. So give me a couple of guesses. You don't have to give me 1, 5, however many you want. But give me a couple of guesses, and we'll see where you place on this. No?
For Chris Evans?
No, I want you to pick what you think who would be on the list of the top 10 most sexy men.
I wouldn't know, because I haven't met every man. You know, you elect a man, and then you realize that there's
the famous people, famous actors.
These are all actors.
Yeah.
celebrities.
Famous actors that you think would be on the sexy list is what he's asking.
Okay, well, we've probably listed 2 recently. Brad Pitt was on there, and I know Tom Cruise was.
Not on this list. I just did this
Really?
on Google. Yeah, Tom Cruise is not in the
Really?
top 10. Yeah.
They
Huh?
might
I
be
thought-
too old.
I'll give you one more guess though. You get one more try. Who else do you think? Because you got one right. Chris Hemsworth is number 2.
Ooh, so this might be spicy, but Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp is not on the top 10. The top
Wow.
10. Yeah, I know. I was surprised too, because those are picks of mine. I mean, I would have thought,
Well,
you know.
In,
But-
in fairness, the ones that Jen named are older, so if it's a recent list, they might skew more towards
It is
the
2022
new
list.
generation of actors.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
2022 list. So, do you want to take a shot at any of these, Terry?
Like I said, I don't know current actors.
I wanted
much
to give you the
less-
opportunity, so I didn't think you would actually want to pick anyway. So I'll give you the top 8. Number 1. Oh my God, this is awful. Number 1 is Harry Styles.
Nah.
Oh, I just thought of one. I don't know if he's going to be on the list. That guy who plays Homelander in The Boys that I see all over Twitter. That's my guess.
Don't know who he is.
I don't know his name, but I just know that he's like this guy in all the gifs on Twitter.
Yeah. Jen got number 2. Number 2 is Chris Hemsworth. Well done. Number
There you
3, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
I can see that.
Yep. Number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4, Brad Pitt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number
That's
5.
an old guy. There you go.
Yeah. Number 5, Idris Elba. The
Mhm.
ladies like
you know
him.
what? You know what? I'm not even going to say as a black dude, because that doesn't mean
No,
anything.
none of this
I
is-
have it. Well, no, it just in general. Like, I'm just saying that there's been times where I've seen black dudes on covers or like walking by and been like, yeah, some black dudes are good looking too. So Idris Elba, yeah, easily.
All right.
easily.
Number 6, Michael B. Jordan.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and he's old too. Actually,
This is America. It's the guy who did the This Is America video. He walks behind somebody and shoots him in the back of the head. You ever
Nah.
saw that video?
no.
Nope.
Number 7, Paul Rudd.
Oh, okay.
Ant-Man.
I guess.
Ant-Man.
Okay.
Stunning to me. And finally, number 8. I don't know how you guys miss this at all. Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Superman.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
that
I
and-
think
that
of him
and
as
The
The
Witcher.
Witcher, but sure.
Right, The Witcher. What, he quit? Yeah.
He
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want my name attached to something that, isn't going to have the heart that's going to be
Well-
remembered by the fans.
Well, the thing is, Henry, from what I've heard, is a legit fan of The Witcher, like including the books, not just the games.
Mhm.
And so he wanted the show to reflect the story. And then the people making the show were like, fuck that. We want to be woke and ruin it. And so he left.
I'm gonna see if I can get Michael B. Jordan's. No, the picture they have him is really terrible.
Let's
Um,
be fair though. Like they've had a problem with him since he said stuff that the feminist narrative didn't like. When he was like, I don't really want to take pictures with women personally because women lie. And I know Frost went after him recently because of, the fact that he dated a 19-year-old when he was 31. And I'm like, she was 19. And he's a famous dude. You're not asking her if she wanted it because she did, clearly. But they do that a lot. They go after the celebrities who say things or don't say things. Like Chris Pratt was one that I mentioned. They've gone after him for years because of something that now Elliot Page said when she was like in 2016. I think she went after him because she thinks he goes to a church that she doesn't like, and you can't go to a church if they don't wed you if you're gay. And like he came out this year saying, yeah, I don't go to that church, but I didn't think I had to defend myself from going to a church in the first place, which he doesn't.
Hey, Jen, read Camel's chat.
Ooh, nope, that was Donald Glover that did the This Is America. Michael B. Jordan is the star of the Creed movies and was the villain in Black Panther.
Does that help you out at all, Terry?
Nope.
No.
I didn't. But
he was in the. Remember the? I don't know if you saw this movie. You probably didn't see it, but in the remake of the Fantastic Four, the third one.
God, no.
The third one.
No idea.
Yeah, he played Johnny Blaze in the third movie.
But KVDM was guessing Ryan Reynolds to be on the list. So I just
yeah.
Yeah, I actually should have thought of him too.
He had what was it last year? He had the Sexiest Smile, I think it was. He won that category last year. So there's people on there that I was surprised, like Tom Cruise. I was like, oh, he's got to be. I don't care how old he is. He still looks. If you saw Maverick, they have a shot for shot comparison of when he's doing the volleyball game, where he turns around, looks behind him, and he smiles. He does that typical Tom Cruise smile. It's the same one he used when he put his glasses on after telling Kelly McGillis that he was the one who shot down the MiG fighter. Who was inverted. Remember that thing? He puts on the glasses and kind of smiles at her. That Tom Cruise, man, that's a fucking staple you could take to the bank any day. It's the same smile. And you saw it in Maverick when they were playing beach football. He getting ready to leave. He turns on. He does that smile to the camera. It's like, I know that smile. Yeah, I was really surprised he wasn't high on that list.
I just looked up Michael B. Jordan, and I've never seen him before in my life. So it doesn't matter what movies you name, I won't know him. I don't recognize him.
Oh, yeah, you're not a movie guy, so I understand that. That's okay. I have and have watched both of the Creed movies. I do have and have watched the all three Fantastic Four movies, 1, 2, and the remake. So
cool.
Yeah, my understanding is the opinion of the left towards Tom Cruise is they don't favor him because when he was filming Maverick, he wasn't nice to the people making the movie because they weren't wearing their COVID shit properly. And he's very professional. He probably didn't give two shits about COVID, but if they're making a movie and they have to follow these rules to be able to make this movie, then by God, you better be following those rules, because if they shut down this movie, it's a lot of money out the window. Yeah. And he basically said that to their faces. And I'm kind of like that, where I don't like wearing the COVID shit, but if you're paying me the kind of money that you're paying me to make a movie, then I'm going to wear the fucking mask, because as annoying as that is, it means I get paid at the end of the month.
Well, I'll tell you a quick joke about Tom Cruise and his power and how he treats people. And it's something that somebody else said about it. It was a joke someone else made, so I'm just trying to remember what they said. But basically, I think it was Jamie Foxx. In any case, he was stopped and he was asked, "How did you do that whole thing? How did you get the ability to run on the side of a glass building for Mission Impossible?" He says, that you did that live. He's like, "Yeah, no, that's real. That's not CGI. That's me running, a couple thousand feet in the air with a rope across those glass panels." And he says, "How did you do that?" And he says, "Well, went to this stunt guy and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to rappel down this side and I'm going to run across. There's going to be 3 cameras and this is how we're going to do it." And the stunt guy says, "You can't do that. That's way too dangerous." So I got another stunt guy. In other words, he fired the guy because he wouldn't let him do it. That's Tom Cruise. If he wants to do something, he's got the money and the power to do anything he wants to do. So if you don't want to wear the COVID masks, you're gone. I don't have time for this. Who was the girl that was his co-star in the movie where he repeated time over and over again because he got infected by an alien?
I don't even know which movie this is.
Something Day of Tomorrow or something like that. There's so many. In any case, very pretty girl. One of my favorite actresses, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head because I'm old. And she was telling a story of him where he's always the professional who will do anything that needs to get done, no matter how hard it is. And he tries to maintain a positive attitude and they're in this very small. It's a jump ship. They're up in the air, and they're not really. It's on a stage, and they're hanging by their costumes. So it's all the pressure's on the perineum and their underarms, and it's hot because it's a small. It's supposed to be small because it's a small airship, and it's hot. And directors are walking by them, bumping into them, and that shit. And they're just hanging there, waiting for their lines to be read, and they're all sweating and all that kind of shit. And she looks over to Tom Cruise, and she mouths the words, "This sucks." And he looks at him, and he smiles, and as he smiles, sweat's dripping down into his face, and he says, "Well, it is a challenge." Everyone else is miserable, but if it's going to get the shot that they want, it doesn't matter. You have to work through it. So there are bad things people have said about him, but you hear these other things, and they're kind of, well, he'll do anything for the shot. So,
and that's professionalism, and that's the thing with quirky people who want to do things, is that they will fire you.
We need to get Chad in here. We need to get Chad in here to host the show.
This
was better.
Was that the end of the list, or did it only get an 8, or was there more?
Oh, that was 8. Yeah.
Okay.
I closed the list after we started getting talking, but Camel immediately corrected me, because if it's not Cynic, it's going to be Camel. Emily Blunt was the girl. It was very pretty, and the movie was Edge of Tomorrow. So yeah, which was, I don't know if I've reviewed it yet, but if you haven't got a chance to see it, it is a cool movie. I don't know anybody who's given it low ratings. So it's high on IMDb. It's high on Rotten Tomatoes, and all my friends in my movie circle all like it. So if you get a chance, it's a good movie to watch. You can stand alone. You don't have to know anything else. Just watch the movie by yourself. Anyway.
No, don't get me wrong, Costin. I do get that Tom Cruise is part of Scientology.
Yeah.
But I do put a distance between people's weird shit and their what they're actually doing for a living.
Yeah,
because even if I think he is a crazy Hollywood person pushing his own shit, and he's not bringing it to his movies.
I mean, I think Robert De Niro is a complete dickhead, but I can still watch his movies. It doesn't bother me that the
he's
person.
A great actor.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me that the person is a prick. As long as the performance is good, I'm fine.
I mean, as long as he hasn't got his hands in anything illegal, which with Scientology, I know why that gets a little bit iffy, because they're weird. As a religion or a cult, I don't know, but they're weird. But yet again, unless he's doing illegal shit, which, let's be fair, there's been actors over the last year who have done illegal shit, and they're still doing illegal shit, and apparently Hollywood has no shits about that. But as long as he's not actively doing harm to people, I don't give a shit how weird he is. At least he's not bringing it to his movies. I appreciate him a lot right now because he's not bringing it to his movies.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be friends with Tom Cruise, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy his movies.
No, I can appreciate that. Like I said, he's, when he's playing a character, he's playing the character. He's not, he's like, I'm not, I don't see him transitioning in the next movie, although he would.
There's a couple
depends on the movie.
There's a couple of actors that I think are just genuinely good people. You never hear anything really bad about their personal lives or anything else they're doing. Keanu Reeves, Matt Damon. There are a couple of actors out there you just look at them like Chris Pratt, who are just good people. So
I don't want to know about their private lives. I think it's better if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason you should is if they did something illegal. And even then, it's not because I need to know their personal life. It's because I'd like to know that they're going to be held accountable for their shit. Because that's one thing. I do have this personal opinion that there are people in Hollywood who get away with murder.
I mean, I guess I'm more forgiving than you then, because I can still watch the Naked Gun movies even if O.J. Simpson is in them.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me in the slightest that the actor did evil things. That irrelevant to me enjoying the movie.
Yeah, you have to be able to separate their performance from the person. You know, this, granted, OJ was in that movie, but they could have put one of a couple hundred actors in that movie. And it would still have been a success. He just happens to be the
Yeah.
one they chose. So, but if you look at their actions in their real life, when they're caught by paparazzi or just doing things, you can kind of weed out the people who kind of are just have a. You can't imagine them being anything untowards. Whenever Keanu Reeves takes a picture with somebody, he puts their
Mhm.
arms around them, but does not touch them. His hands
Mm-hmm.
hover over top of them.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to invade their personal space, even if they tell him to. Chris
But
Pratt.
it's also good for deniability if someone wants to accuse him of something. If his hand is nowhere near them, then it makes it a lot harder for them.
Smart. Maybe it's smart too. I don't know how many times people who want to take selfies with movie stars have then turned around and sued movie stars for touching. I don't know
It
if
only
that's
has to
ever.
happen once.
Yeah. So maybe it's smart. It just seems like he's just being really nice. And not invading people's space. And Chris Pratt's a good Christian boy. You know,
Mhm.
patriotic. Wears what was the "Don't Tread on Me" shirt. Got
No
caught.
wonder they hate him.
Got a lot of shit on that for the "Don't Tread on Me" shirt, which from the American point of view is like, dude, that's fucking cool. It's like wearing Betsy Ross's flag or something like that. It's very patriotic. So why is that a bad thing for Australians? He said you didn't like it. You don't like the "Don't Tread on Me." What was the Gaston flag thing? Is that what it is?
No. I said, no wonder they hate him, meaning he's not the right beliefs.
Right. Yeah, that's normally why they go after him, is because he's a good old Christian boy. Goes to a very normal.
I have no feelings one way or the other towards the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. I don't know anything about the history or significance of it. It's just a meme to me. It's just
It's not really actually that complicated. There was 13 colonies when we came over, and what they did was they cut a snake into 13 pieces, and named each piece after a state that's in the colony. And then the thing was, don't tread on me. It was probably leading into what was going to be, independence, War of Independence. So, I don't know the deep details of it, but that's generally what the idea is. So, anyway,
fair
you
enough.
guys want to talk about Brittany Grimes at all? I don't know if I want to
Sure.
talk about. Do you do? Okay, let's go ahead and talk about it. Tell me what you know.
So I don't know anything about her, but I have advice. If they offer you tattoos in Russia for your prison time, tell them no, because sometimes they put weird shit like tires into that mix, and you don't want that in your system. Like, sure, it'll make you high, but it'll kill you too. But I don't really have anything to say on that other than that.
Yeah.
For random things that I know about Russia, because I watch too many documentaries.
I mean, she broke the law. She got punished for it. I say good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my Star Trek sensibility kicked on right away. This is the prime directive. If you go somewhere, you have to follow the rules of where you go. So if you break those rules, it's not anyone else's fault but your own. I mean, really, if of all the things for you to get nailed for, drugs, really? If you go in there and you kill somebody, I'm like, oh, okay, well, she killed somebody, But drugs, that's a very lame reason to get 8 years or 9 years.
Yeah.
But I think was it Singapore? You'll get like 30 years. Singapore, they're like really bad against drugs. So
yeah, I don't know. There's some countries with very, very strict punishments for this sort of thing.
Well, they even say if you're flying to Singapore on a plane, they specifically say Singapore is a drug-free country. Penalties are very severe. Do not bring drugs into our country. It's right on the airplane before you even get landed.
I think that's part of the reason why they're so gung-ho about this one, is because it's Russia. She's a black girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they appreciate that. Yeah, if she had been in a different country, it would have been worse. But because it's But because it's Russia, I think they have this idea that she's going to go to like an actual gulag. Like, no, she's just going to go to a regular prison and sit there bored like everybody else.
Their prisons are gulags by comparison to our prisons.
Well, that's hyped up a lot. Like, you're thinking like old Soviet versus like current Russia. If you look at photos and like videos of current Russia is like a lot of Europe. It's got mixes of old and new. You know, there's some towns that are as current as like the US, just spelt in Russian. You know, so she's probably in a regular prison for people who were doing drugs and shit.
Well, the article I read said a labor camp.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that she's not going to be sitting on her ass all day.
No.
So,
but you know,
here's the shovel. Go dig a hole.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have any courts in prison.
It's a shame that she's so tall, because otherwise she could sing, "I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, diggy diggy hole, diggy diggy hole."
Yeah, she's like 6'8". I think somebody in chat said
something
earlier.
absurd.
Can't imagine. I've never met a woman that tall. I've only met one guy in my entire life that's tall, and that's my UPS driver. He's 6'8".
That is enormously tall.
It is. It is for people who are of average height, whatever that be, or women who are below average men's height. It's not anything really important to see someone who's tall, because most people, you know, to women are tall. Most guys are.
Yeah.
But for a guy who is tall, to find someone taller than him, it's shocking. He came up to the port. I was like, I thought he was like fucking Yeti or something like that. He just towered over me. I was like, I couldn't really even speak. I was more tongue tied then than I am now. I couldn't say anything to him. He just handed me the package. He says, "Here you go. Have a nice day." I was like, You know, I didn't move. He got in the truck and he drove down the highway. I'm just sitting there looking at the package. I couldn't believe what I just encountered. Because I'm, you know, as I've mentioned almost every stream, I'm 6'3". I'm a pretty tall guy. You know, and there's certainly guys that are, you know, a little bit taller than me. Here and there, you might run into one, but this guy was like a head taller. I was like, I didn't even know they made people like you. It's amazing. And we become fast friends. Because he makes little shorty jokes to me when I come up. He walks up, I'll say, "How's the air up there?" And he'll laugh at me. He's like, "Here you go, shorty." Walk away.
He says that he read that she's going to a penal colony. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I read she was. Yeah, she probably read the same thing I read, that she was going to a penal colony, penal camp, whatever they call them. But penal usually means that it's a workplace, that you're not going to just. Yeah. It's not just a. We'll put you here and forget about you. It's going to be here's your new duties for the next 8 hours, and then you get to go and eat. You know, kind of deal. So she's not going to be just sitting on her ass. I mean, she'll be in great shape when she, you know, after 9 years, come back.
Well, then she'll be able to hit the rim.
Did you ever see her dunk?
No.
She only did it like a couple of times, or was said to it. I never saw a video of her actually doing it, but they had her on like MSNBC or some crap like that, where they handed her a ball to dunk and she couldn't do it. So, tall in the legs, man. It's nice to be tall. But there was there's a point guard for LA, I think, maybe. I don't remember. Maybe it was for the Nuggets. I don't remember. Point guard, famous point guard, for a winning basketball team, and he was like my height or shorter, and he was able to dunk the ball easily.
Wow.
Yeah, he just jumped like, you know, like he was on a springboard. He'd go flying up in the air. He was I don't know. Anybody who's a basketball fan would know who I'm talking about, because he stood out amongst everybody else. But yeah, he won the slam dunk contest one year.
I'll bet.
Yeah, because he was just like,
he's just got to reach over and drop the ball in the hoop.
Well, I mean, this guy was tiny. So to be able to jump that high, and there's style points too. Like people would spin around and under their legs and all that kind of stuff. But
we have an answer in chat. Nate Robinson for the Knicks.
yeah, that's who it was. Nate Robinson. Exactly right. It was for the Knicks. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was Lakers or. But yeah, yeah, he was amazing. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be that tall to dunk. It's nice to be, Shaq, where you just tippy toes and drop it in, kind
Yeah.
of deal. But okay. Well, it's a little after 10. You guys have anything else on the ballot to chat about? Getting that political.
Nothing too much. Nope.
How about you,
What about-
Terry?
I mentioned it in chat, but I might as well just say it out loud. I somehow managed to get a year older overnight without knowing how. It just happened. It snuck up on me. So as of this morning, I am now 42.
Oh,
Happy
congratulations!
birthday!
I'm not singing.
Thank you.
Kira damn well though. Have you heard her sing?
Yeah, Kevin sang to me last year. I don't know if she's going to make another one this year, but no, I mean,
She's got great.
thank you
voice.
for the birthday wishes.
Yes, happy birthday, sir. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
another year around the sun.
Yes.
But I guess if that's nothing, we should probably get out of here, right?
Sounds good.
It's after 10. We should probably get out of here. So let me say goodbye to everybody real quick. Thanks, Sam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. Remember, we're trying to get our Rumble channel up and running. I think we're on 23 of 100, so we're a quarter of the way there. If you have an account on Rumble, go ahead and give us a follow if you have an opportunity. Eventually, we'll live stream there as well, and you'll be helping the Minions grow. As for YouTube, we can't wait for the next Wednesday show. Remember, the Minions are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Post and start times are linked in the description, as always, along with the Rumble channel down below. We will be back.
I put the link to the Rumble channel in the chat as well.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. We will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show, and we'll see you again next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night, guys.